They are a four-piece indie pop band from Auckland, New Zealand. Please welcome longtime friends Elizabeth Stokes, Jonathan Pierce, Benjamin Sinclair, and Tristan Deck, who are about to be better known as the Beths. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hello.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've come a long way. You are from Auckland, New Zealand, but by way of this last trip of Buffalo, New York.
That's correct.
Yeah, so the plights of touring bands that a lot of people don't know about is you spend a lot of time in vans. Tell me about this last trek to get to South by Southwest.
Okay. Well, we did a tour starting up in Toronto, but we had to pick up a van an American van so we could return it, like in America, like in a different place. And so, but we had to go to Buffalo, so it was like Auckland to San Francisco to Newark, Newark to Buffalo, and then driving from Buffalo up to Toronto to start.
And all of that takes less than a day by the calendar.
Yeah.
Because we gain
One
time
extremely long
coming
day.
from here. So
It's quite strange when we fly to this side of the world. You arrive, like, you fly for something like 13 hours and then arrive before you left. Or
Yeah,
something like that.
I've done that before. It's very disconcerting.
Yeah. Long day.
You almost have to become a logistics expert, I feel like, when you're a touring band.
you have to be like a logistics experts and also what do you call people who work at zoos? Zoo people.
Zookeepers?
Yeah.
Zookeepers, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause you're
Zoo
just
people.
zoo people,
Why is that?
because you're just herding
Oh.
animals around.
Oh yeah, you're a cat herder. yeah, you're a cat herder. Yeah, absolutely. So your new album that's out is Future Me Hates Me, and I got to spend some quality time with the album, and for me, you really make unhappiness, dare I say, self-loathing, pretty catchy and pretty happy. It's pretty sneaky, I feel like, for you to wrap up some of that into that beautiful packaging.
Thank you. It's very sneaky. I'm an extremely suspicious and sneaky person. So. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Like, I find it very hard to write like just a happy song that sounds happy because I'm kind of like I'm not really sure where I would begin writing that, like where I'd be like I need to write. Everything's really cool right now. I just don't know.
Doesn't sound like a banger, does it?
Doesn't really.
No, not a banger. But are you conscious of the fact that you're taking these lyrics that might be angry or sad or reminiscent and putting them into this fuzzy guitar sound that is something that get people moving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's conscious.
Yeah.
It's not an accident.
Yeah, I think there's a thing about rock music. It doesn't like overtly express a really specific emotion. Like electric guitar riffs with lots of distortion. It's like I think the word angst comes up a lot, but there's other forms of music where it's just really obvious just from the sound of the music what the musician's feeling. I think when you're playing guitar rock, you have to add some of that personality quite specifically from the lyrics because it's just not there. Like what you get from the sound of the guitar is just the heart racing or something.
Mm-hmm. The four of you don't have what I would say is a sort of traditional, if you can call it indie rock, traditional sort of background when it comes to your music origins. You've studied jazz, and that's I think where a lot of you met, right?
We knew each other before, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's where we met Tristan as well.
So tell me a little bit of the origin story in regards to deciding to study jazz and then meeting and then ending up playing in a rock band.
Yeah, well, that's basically what happened.
I just did your job for you.
Yeah, well, that's like, we were studying music. We were playing music beforehand as well, and so like we all kind of, it's almost like we started in indie rock or like in songwriting and like just playing in bands with friends, and then went to study music and then came out and was still like doing that and part of that kind of community of like jazz and stuff like that. But I wanted to write music again, and we started jamming this project after I'd like written some demos and yeah, we just kind of like wanted to play guitar music again.
What's the phrase you dislike the most when it comes to the description of your music or rock music in general?
Just like the most. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like yeah, maybe there's more. Some bands would have more trouble than we do. We're not really breaking
Pretty
the mold
lax
too
about
much.
to use guitar music in air quotes. New Zealand, I think, isn't really very well known by outsiders for much more than obviously Lord of the Rings, although there's so much to New Zealand. But it has produced some really wonderful bands that I love, like the Naked and the Famous, the Datsuns, of course, Flight of the Conchords. Tell me, if you can, some of the unique, if you could be really clinical about Auckland, and tell me some of the aspects of the music scene there.
It's aspects of the music scene. The scene that we're a part of, it's like, it's really, I don't know, what is it? It's kind of like big enough that there are like a few different genre divides, but small enough that they have to blur together quite a lot in order to, I don't know, like share the same spaces and like
Just make gigs. And
make gigs. Yeah.
Good times.
There's not like 10 bands that are all playing like quite similar music and they all gig together. There's probably like 2, and so you end up playing with a lot of different musicians. I don't know. I can't really pick what it is. It's just there's just lots of good music down there.
Let's say that I decide to fly to Auckland tomorrow. Where should I go to see music? Maybe to have a pint and to eat something.
Auckland's Karangahape Road's classic dive bar, the Whammy Bar, is probably, I think all of us would agree, the #1 choice to go and check out
And the
a local
line
band. I would go and check out Galbraith's pub if you wanted a pint and something to eat.
Tell them Ben sent you.
Was there another thing?
Yeah, just
You probably want to go to Flying Out record store on Hay Road, which is the Flying Nun like record store.
bricks and mortar.
Is it a big hub
home.
for a lot of the musical scene to spend time together?
It's a tiny, small hub. But,
Small hub.
but it's
Everyone
a-
goes
it's a
there.
hub.
to
But
commute.
you know, if you wanted to find out what was going on, you could go there and talk to the people who work there. And
Oh yeah, the charming
ask
thing about
them.
Flying Out is that all the Flying Nun bands who are touring around the world, when they're not on tour, they seem to work at the record store. So you go in there and it's like, oh, it's Phaser Days working in the record store. Awesome.
Yeah, that seems to be, I think, a kind of a common trait of a lot of musicians.
Right.
So you've been a lot of places and played a lot of different cities. I'm curious to know how or what it's like to actually like for example, in the U.S. we're not a monolith, and so every state can be different as far as the culture goes. What have been some of the different aspects of each sort of music culture you've seen in the when you've played the audiences?
it's hard to pick differences.
We've made some great friends in Chicago. There seems to be a real good family vibe to the bands in Chicago, and people know each other and love each other's bands, and yeah, that's been really special to be let into that a little bit. We played with the band Rat Boys. We played with them actually in Bristol on our first international tour, just by chance. Someone in Bristol, we had asked them if we could make a gig, and they liked us enough. They were like, oh, this gig's already full, it's already sold out, but we like you, we're going to put you on this bill, and we're so glad they did, because since then we've played like with them several times, or in different iterations a few times, and really been led into their little environment in Chicago through introductions to other musicians and things. That's been really awesome.
That's cool. That's really cool. I didn't know that. Have there been any standout good or bad moments in some of your tours where you're like, whoa, that's weird. Americans are weird.
You get some really intense tech people, that's for sure. Like people who you get boffins of a high magnitude.
Boffin.
Well, yeah, what's a boffin?
A boffin is like a real like tech nerd, but like of a specific antisocial level.
Okay, and was this in some specific tech community you were in, a city?
I guess I'm just referring to like the person who tweaks your monitors before you play.
Oh, that's what you mean when you say tech. You're not actually talking about like someone from Silicon Valley or from Austin.
No, but that is a phenomenon as well. Yeah.
If you stay behind after the gig and listen to all the techs talk to each other while they're packing down,
It's another language.
it's a real treat. Yeah.
And that's something different you've seen here versus
There
other
is
places.
something actually. We were playing cricket in a car park in Texas, and we were in Texas? No, we were in Atlanta. we were playing cricket, which is a sport that people play in New Zealand.
Yeah, yeah.
In a car park in Atlanta, and
All of what you just said is freaking hilarious. I can imagine this right now. By the way, so just because I didn't know this word not that long ago, car park is parking lot.
oh yeah,
Parking
parking
lot.
lot.
With the band Bad Bad Hats.
Okay.
Yeah, and we hit someone's car, which Liz was really happy about. Liz had been telling us off for like 20 minutes, and we were still playing like stupid.
Were people staring?
There weren't enough people to
It's-
stare, but there
it's late
was
at night,
someone
it
in
was-
their car.
Yeah, the policeman that was in the car park was pretty chill about it.
And a
Even
few
after we
people-
got quite close to him.
A few people got out of their cars and just like wondered what we were doing, and we had to explain what cricket was, and they were into it.
I'm imagining people slowing down and just like Instagramming this as they went by.
Yeah, but anyway, we accidentally hit a gentleman's car.
And that gentleman had a gun.
As people do in this country.
And that
Yeah.
guy revealed his gun to us. It was
He
very
did not.
scary.
He just
Yeah,
yelled.
sure
He
did,
just
yeah.
got a bit angry, and then we apologized, and he walked off and flashed his gun.
And now he's your guitar tech.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
guy
that's the
cannot be
boffin.
messed
Okay,
with,
now I
yeah.
understand. This
One
is
could
all
say
coming
he's quite
together.
forgiving.
Yeah. Would have been a lot worse.
So you are playing South by, and correct me if I'm wrong, 10 gigs?
Yeah, that's
10. That's, I mean, in South by, that's not exactly like the most, but it's still a lot. How many, have you played that many before in this short amount of time?
No, never.
No. No.
We've never done 4 in a day.
We've
never
done
done 4
3
in
in a day before at Big Sound, which is like the Australian South by Southwest,
Okay.
and that was already quite alarming.
So so today's your day off. If we were to look at this as a sport, what's your game plan going into preparing for that many back-to-backs?
Try not to shout. For me, it's trying to shout at
Yeah.
too many people like in loud venues, just like I love this band, and then spend 20 minutes doing that, because that's kind of what will get you
Get
the
your
next
voice.
day. Yeah. So I'm gonna try and.
I think I'm a bit worried about when we're going to eat in between all of the shows.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that can make things like quite stressful.
Do you guys have muesli bars here?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Maybe we'll go some muesli bars.
Yeah.
We don't want to be getting hangry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hangry's the worst. Is this your first time to Austin?
No, we came here once last year in October, and
Yeah.
we played in the little downstairs room at Stubbs.
Okay, great. What are some of your favorite takeaways of this city?
I like all the, I don't know, I like all the food trucks everywhere, I think. Well,
Mhm.
like, I say everywhere, in the, like, 1 kilometre square that we've kind of been walking around. That's really cool. It seems like a city that, it's nice to be in a city where music is kind of the identity of the city. Just because it's quite rare, I think.
The live music capital of the world.
Yeah.
So far, outside of Auckland, your favorite place to play, which is
Can't do that.
can't
It's
do
really
that.
hard, yeah. I got in trouble for saying the wrong answer to this earlier.
You did?
So I can tell you another
It's a
story
lot
about
of deep
Austin.
thought. Yes, please tell me another story about Austin.
Okay, this morning we were walking to the convention centre and walked past a fire truck and admired the gold lettering on the fire truck.
Mm.
So we were taking a photo of the good font, and the 3 firemen who was like standing next to the truck, like came rushing in and opened up all the doors, and we're like, "Get in! You can get in! Climb all over it! This is Austin, baby. Do what you want."
Okay. Okay. Yes, that's Austin, but that's how firefighters are in the United States.
Oh, really?
They're gregarious. They are.
Really?
They will pull up their fire truck to a grocery store, pull up,
Yes.
leave it in front, and they'll all walk in and go shopping as a like they shop in the truck. Yeah. No, I'm not kidding. And so everyone loves firefighters in the United States. Doesn't matter where you live.
Well, okay,
pretty
that is
cute.
a culture that we didn't know about. That's fascinating.
Yeah. No. Did you get in and take photos?
We sure
did.
did.
Oh my gosh! I want to see this on your Instagram immediately after this interview is over.
Okay.
Find it there.
So what's next on the horizon for you? Obviously, you're playing South by, but then are you touring after this festival's over?
We've got a couple more dates left in Texas, and then we'll head back to New Zealand for 6 weeks or so.
6
before
weeks?
and then we'll back on tour.
And then another tour. It starts in June or July.
We're touring here in July. After we're going to Europe and the UK in between.
Okay,
And,
cool.
Yeah.
So we should stay tuned for your website to see those.
Yes, our official website.
for sure website.
Yeah. You
quite a
can
good
go on the
website.
website and play our game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's great. Unfortunately, I would have loved to have talked about that, but we're running out of time. So the Beths, thank you so much for being here. And for those of you out there, as we said, you have quite a few chances to see the Beths during the festival. They will be playing tomorrow at 4 p.m. at the Container Bar, and then again tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock at the Scoot Inn. And on Friday, March 15th, they are doing a set at the Mohawk at 4:15 p.m. and then play again at the Native Hostel at 8:55 p.m. These are very specific times. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. It's been really fun, and thank you all out there for tuning in. We will be back on the live stream at 4:30 p.m. today with Bjorn Ulvaeus from ABBA.
Whoa.
Oh my God.